Hey, Michael, Casey here, Brick by Brick Wealth. And I heard on the daily financial news that you think the real estate market is going to go crazy nutso this fall, which we're entering this fall. So I've got to get your hot take on why you think that.
So I'm glad you caught that. So thank you for watching the daily financial news. It's a fun to do a live show 5 days a week. Let me step back for a minute. It was actually about 8 weeks ago when I was talking with Lance Lambert from Resi Club, and I said that I believed August, the month that just finished, is going to prove to be the bottom of the housing market. And that's going to piss a lot of people off because, again, I'm not talking housing prices, I'm talking housing transactions, right? The housing industry makes up 12% of our GDP. It has been in a depression for 3 years, maybe 3.5 years. So what I would want to tell people in mortgage, in real estate, title, escrow, appraisers is congratulations, you finally hit bottom. And when I made that call 6 or 8 weeks ago, Lance looked at me like I was crazy, like I had three eyes. But what I saw coming was a deteriorating labor market that would ultimately lead to the Federal Reserve pivoting and starting a rate cutting cycle. And I knew that if we could get anything close to 6%, that demand would be pulled off the sidelines. That was my prediction. Lo and behold, fast forward 8 weeks, we just got a horrible jobs number last week. We saw mortgage rates collapse 16 basis points in a single day, go from roughly 6.5 to 6.29 and going lower today. And just over the weekend, I see people in my communities talk about their buy box had 5 houses with 100 days on market, all in escrow. I was working on buying 3 homes from Lennar directly, and I got a phone call yesterday that they're stopping negotiations because all 3 homes are now sold. Right, and I'd been working on these negotiations for like 3 weeks. Right, we were getting down to the very end.
You're not going to get your new builds.
Not going to get my at least 3 of them. At least I won't get the 3 in my number one community, right? So they have 7 communities. This is the one that I wanted. This is the one I was buying 3. They're sold. They're gone. They're not available, right? All happened this weekend. And I'm hearing more and more from mortgage brokers that buyers are coming off the sidelines and whatnot. So what I thought was coming, the dominoes, they fell exactly like I thought they would. And demand is already coming back. So the other thing that I said to Lance, and I have receipts so I can go back and pull them up, was September existing home sales, we're going to do better than last year and the year before. I'm not talking about going back to 6 million, Casey. I'm just talking about going back to, 4.2, 4.25, but it's going to feel amazing, right? If you've been starving and somebody gives you a McDonald's cheeseburger, you're going to think that's like a 5-star meal. So, that's just where we are in the cycle. It's just we've been down for so long. Any uptick is going to feel amazing. So I really do believe the fall housing market is going to be better than people expect. I think it's going to be bonkers. I think the mortgage industry, who's been starving the most, is going to have a mini refi boom as people go back to their houses and do an ATM and extract equity, cash. And it's going to be a very interesting fall. So yeah, I do think that the housing market's going to be bonkers. We're seeing inventory at the low end go, and if we're not careful, we could have some bidding wars in some cities come back, which would be wild to think about.
Yeah. So I've been paying attention to 2 types of markets. The higher end market, because, I'm always wanting to move. God, I just must say that every time and get my new primary. But I'm in, those golden handcuffs with I have a great house and a low rate. And, why take on the extra payment? Rates are so high. It's not worth it. Right. I'm in that same boat as everybody else. So with interest rates, if they come down anywhere close to 6%, I agree. Game is over. Our buyer's market is over. And it was that short little fun window. And so I'm paying attention to 2 markets, like I'm saying, the higher end market, lower end market. I loved looking in Colorado for the higher end market. And I pay attention out here in Memphis, Germantown area for the higher end, Memphis for the rental investment properties. Rentals are still sitting right now as it is. They're still having a hard time selling, unlike some of the other markets that I pay attention to, like in Ohio and Alabama. Those rental markets, those sales are, let me repeat this or rephrase this. Montgomery, Alabama, and Birmingham, all of them are slower Ohio
Mhm.
markets are through the roof. So it's kind of like
Wow.
the opposite effect where some of these um, cities where it's affordable and you can cash flow, they're having bidding wars. There's still
Mm.
100% asking price for sale price. But then you
Wow.
have other areas like Memphis and areas in Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana that are struggling, and those lower end homes aren't selling so fast, and those rate drops would absolutely help. And then on the other hand, you have the higher end markets, and I don't know the whole country, but like the luxury home markets, and those properties, the days on the markets are just increasing, whereas
Yeah.
a typical day on the average day on the market for, somewhere in Denver area or out here in Memphis would be 40 days. Now it's 90 days. And so properties are taking longer. I'm still seeing price drops and price cuts. But if rates do get too close to that 6, I think everyone's like,
I
okay,
got
good enough for me.
Yeah,
And they're
I got news for you. Friday they closed at 6.29, which means that's just the median rate. I had people
yeah.
all over the weekend telling me they're getting rates at 587, 58, 5
So we
591.
were in party mode this weekend, so I didn't do any real estate stuff. We went to,
Ah, you're missing out.
oh my God, I can hardly
Rates.
even talk. I lost my voice. We went to the Arizona State, Mississippi State game in Mississippi this weekend,
Good for
Starkville, with
you.
our neighbors. So, we're Arizona State football fans and our neighbors are Mississippi State fans. And since the teams don't play in the same conference ever, it's like the
Huh.
first time, they did last year, and then this year they play, but they might not again for 10 years.
Yeah.
So we went down there. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we came back late last night. It was like football
Who won?
weekend.
Who
So
won?
my God, it was terrible, Michael. Mississippi State won. They rushed the field. It was the first time that they've, won a top 25 school in like a decade. So it was stupid. Arizona lost Scattaboo, and we're playing like crap. So
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah,
Well, good news is interest rates are falling. That'll reduce the sting.
interest rates are falling. Yes. So good news for everybody. Go out and buy. And like that's what I tell like my students is, half the time they know that they need to get out there, but they're not seeing the rush because things are still sitting. But like you've said, day in and day out, there have not been a lot of buyers markets, and this could be a very short one. And
I've been telling
if
people.
rates are near 6%, I mean, everyone has been sitting on the sidelines since before COVID, waiting to buy. Even if people could afford to buy, they weren't buying. And this could open up the move up buyer. Remember how we talked about them needing 2 life events to move? Maybe we could be back to 1, because something in the 6% range is, especially the lower half of the 6% range, is doable and acceptable for everyone. And I think everybody agrees.
Well, let me just ask you. Yeah, let me just ask you. I mean, you're in this situation. You can take on the bigger payment. You don't want to. Totally understand. I mean, have you ever had that kind of internal monologue? Like, what's the magic interest rate? Is it 6? Is it 5.5? Is it 5? Where you go,
I mean,
close enough?
I hate paying a lot. I hate putting a lot of money in a house, right? For a down payment. Could do it, but it's like sitting there, not being able to be used. That's a lot of cash that we could buy rentals with, So I hate to put a lot of cash just to make the payment work. I think that's sometimes a poor man's way of thinking. Like, I want to put as little as I can into it, but still at least 20%, because I'm not paying extra, every month.
No PMI.
Yeah, no, I'm not paying that. So yeah, at least 20, but no more than that, just to make it work, I think is stupid. But 5.75, 5.875 would be really nice. And even if that was like, could buy the rate down a little bit, right? Something in the 5.
Congratulations, Casey. You can get it today with 1
Yeah,
point.
today. Yeah. Isn't that cool? I know. So that's neat. And then it's back to thinking, okay, well, screw that. Let's just go buy more houses, more houses. That's what we've done for the past 5 years is dream home. 5 more rentals, dream home, buy more rentals. So, it's that.
Well, you're going to have options.
That's my midlife crisis right there. I'm in my 40s, and this is my midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis.
Where do we spend our money?
It must be nice. Must be nice. But yeah, I think I do think the fall housing market is, and again, I have receipts. I called it months ago, is going to prove to be stronger than expected. It could potentially be way stronger. I do think mortgage brokers are finally going to eat. They've been starving forever. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people who bought over the last couple of years who have 7s and 8s, and they're going to refi to sub 6. And I think, I think once again, asset owners win and, non-asset owners lose. The path to wealth is owning assets. Everyday wealth builders is a thing. And it's just going to be proven once again. That's what I think.
Yeah. We bought the house we bought last year, 7% interest rate, so, and, we've only had it the year. So it could refinance if it made sense and drop the payment enough. But the cool thing is that house today, we upgraded it, right? And we got a good renter in there. I think we make $600 a month on that one, cash flow. And, if we were to sell it today, prices go up because interest rates are going to go down. And then here we are back with demand. I will have still been glad that I bought that house last year in the 7% range. Like there is no regret. There are no regrets for buying when it makes sense.
Absolutely. Casey, you're amazing. How can people find you?
People can find me on YouTube, Brick by Brick Wealth. They put out a video every week. And you can find me on Instagram too. It's great for the DMs. If you want to chat with me, Brick by Brick Wealth.
Thank you so much.